One of the best burgers I've ever had. In my universe, this place closed 6 years ago. I don't know why. I really don't.
What are you doing, bud?
Oh, okay, relax your fingers. We don't have time. Just let go. Be in the moment.
I am in the moment. It's a terrible moment.
Selecting the bagels. Okay, now we do a switchy. What?
Get back here. Where do you think you're going? He took a bagel.
All right, time to swing. Just like I
Look at me.
You know, some people have told me that I look like Spider-Man. Just look at the resemblance.
Huh?
And given my possible familial connection to Spider-Man, I think this puts me in a unique position to discuss part of our story. Or at least one Spot?
Buster, straight buster.
Yeah, the video's about Spot. When I say the words, the scariest villain, you wouldn't expect me to be talking about somebody with the same drip as 101 Dalmatians. You would usually be assuming I'm talking about some Silent Hill or Resident Evil type villains, because that's what people are typically scared of. You wouldn't immediately assume that the guy who looks like mold on drywall would be the villain. Or maybe you would. Maybe you're really smart. I don't know. Part of the beauty and genius in Spot's design is he doesn't really look super imposing or threatening. He's even got like the typical nerd posture. He's kind of hunched over a little bit. He's kind of built like young Sheldon is what I'm saying. Spot's design is almost an analogy for his personality early on in the movie. He looks pretty non-threatening because he seemed pretty non-threatening. He couldn't even steal an ATM from the bodega without getting his ass beat. But as the movie progresses and his powers get more powerful, his design changes a lot. His body almost contorts and shifts, and it ends up making him look like a demon instead of a human being, which was initially the thing he was pissed off about. Spot's design in Across the Spider-Verse isn't just a way to make him look a certain way. His design reflects his character throughout the film, and it defines his character for the audience before we even hear a line from him. Spot's design in Across the Spider-Verse isn't just a way to make him look a certain way. Good designs like Spot's can do things like that. You guys know the famous line from Spider-Man, "If your character's attire reflects who they are, then that is a good design." From a more holistic standpoint, I'm trying to explain that Spot's design is part of what makes him such a scary villain. It's one thing for a villain to just look weird or off-putting, but it's another thing for a character's entire arc and the fear that they create to be presented in how they look. Most villains look scary, of course, but I don't think I've ever seen a villain, animated or otherwise, reach the same level of pure off-puttedness that Spot had. Off-puttedness, is that a word? It is now. Spot, just by being on camera, was able to make me feel like there was something off about him. And as the movie progressed, I went from, oh, this guy's just a little weird, to somebody needs to call the Avengers, because this guy's not messing around anymore. Design is a wildly important part of Spot's character and his role as a villain. His design is part of the reason he's able to incite so much fear. But it's never just as simple as coasting on the design. Spot's place as a frightening villain isn't just owed to his design, but also his sense of humor. Yes, I'm serious.
Same nigga breaking down hoes left and right.
When I say sense of humor, I don't mean Spot's gonna kill Miles' dad and then be like, hey, what's the deal with airline food? Well, Actually, that does feel like something he would do. But more specifically, I'm talking about how Spot is able to go from goofy fella who loves tomfoolery to serial killer at the drop of a hat. It's that goofiness that makes his character more frightening. It's easy to write a villain who's scary and evil constantly, but there were times early on in the movie where I felt real pity for Spot. Because he looks the way he looks and he can't go back, and it seems to him like the only thing he can do is become a criminal. And for him to shift from that lost goofball character to a relentless psychopath is pretty damn frightening. Usually when a villain is presented in media, he has the vibe of, oi, it's about to get right bit diddly in it. Because just like in history, every villain is British. You guys know what I mean, right? Like usually when villains are introduced, they exude a really threatening energy, but Spot, being someone who can swap back and forth between threatening and non-threatening, is kind of an anomaly in the book of villain writing. And I know there's already 10 people commenting, oh, but what about the Joker? You forgot about the Joker. I love the Joker. He's so Sigma and so based, and he perfectly represents me. That's what you're typing right now. I can see it. And to that I say, please be quiet before I have to rewrite the script again. I actually really like that Spot is so inconsistent in his behavior. It really feels representative of someone who's being dragged further and further into evil, which... oh shit, hey, that ties back to his design, because like, he started normal and then he kind of looked scarier, and then he was acting scarier. Man, it comes all full circle. I wonder if that's like symbolism or something. Spot's sense of humor in Across the Spider-Verse has a very interesting effect on his interactions with the characters. Because of his general spottiness... Calm down. Because of his general spottiness, his interactions with everyone in the film, even up to post-transformation, seem almost playful. Miles is having a "that's so Raven" premonition, and instead of Spot being like,
Hey man, I'm gonna go kill your father,
he simply says, "See you back home, Spider-Man." He still thinks of it as a game. That "see you back home" makes it really clear to me that Spot isn't taking any of this seriously. It's just a game to him. And if a guy who looks like this stopped taking his main enemy seriously and is just making jokes out of them, yeah, I would be very frightened.
They show you real love when you broke. They showing fake love when you rich. I think I risked in a piece.
Spot is a weird guy. Not weird like the kids in the computer lab that hiss at people, but more like good weird. Like a little scary and cool, but he's also kind of got you shivering in your timbers a bit. That's the most interesting thing about Spot and the fear he creates. He's such an anomaly as far as his character goes that as the audience, we don't know whether to laugh at him or grab a Huggies Little Mover diapers, which are very good at absorbing and making you feel dry even after accidents. Or so I've been told. My point is that Across the Spider-Verse is an amazing movie that pushed the envelope for what it means to be a superhero movie, animated or not. And to create a movie that has such an intense impact, you need a villain that can create such an intense impact. And that's exactly what Spot was. And inadvertently, through their work on the design and the development of the character, I believe that Across the Spider-Verse created the scariest villain.
It should be simple enough. Just make a hole, grab the money.
I'm thinking my dad in my head rich, just look like a battery. I like all of my cups so dirty, I been sipping that bloody milk. I'm in some of my pros and blow milk until I roll my doorbell. I'm in some of my pros and blow milk until I roll my doorbell. Don't get close, don't get too close. Don't get close, don't get too close.